Yeah, how you doing, Ashley? It's good to have you on. Thank you for taking the time to have a chat.
Of course, thanks for having me.
How are you doing in this crazy world that we're living in? How are you holding up?
I think I'm okay. Um, no, I'm good. I'm trying to working on staying in the moment, trying to find joy in the moments and not getting too hyper focused on what's next in general.
Yeah, it's an exciting week for you, isn't it? Because we got Rosegold coming this Friday. It's been a long time coming. So, how excited are you to finally get this project out to the world and see the reaction?
I really am so excited. I think it just hit me yesterday that it was actually coming out this week. And I thought, oh my goodness, all these songs that I've been listening to for so long, you know, being so excited to share the whole body of work, it's happening. So yeah, I'm super ready and super excited.
Well, we absolutely loved having you for the happy half hour at Destination Country a couple of weeks ago. That was so much fun, and you could tell just how much you love performing these songs live. So, how desperate are you to get out there and perform these songs? Because I feel like they're just made for the live setting.
Oh, let me tell you, I did like a live taping the other day of these songs, like with a band, and I had two background singers like doing the harmonies, and I caught the bug big time. I was like, oh my goodness, this is. I kept thinking like every song I wanted to come in and on a one of those things I can't afford in my set, but like Britney Spears and the ball, the descent ball. I just kept seeing like these real dramatic entrances to like every song. I'd probably just walk out on stage and start singing them, but I really did get the bug, and it sounded so good live. So, I mean, I started thinking like, when am I gonna tour? Like, when I
Yeah,
gotta figure it out.
who knows? But it's one of these albums that's like so atmospheric and it really takes you on a journey. And I was going to ask you about the track list and the sequencing. Like, how much thought went into that? Because it really feels like you kind of crafted this journey from front to back.
I really did. I mean, the inspiration of the songs and the melodies and all that, that was super easy. That the melodies came, every co-write with everybody on the album was super natural, easy, felt like it was perfect. But I sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was your original question there?
So about the track list and the sequencing and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
But then when I started, like, so I would write, say I wrote Siren first, and then I would write Silk, then I would write Flying, and then so then I was saying, okay, well, these songs are going together. This feels like a whole thing. This doesn't just feel like, one or two songs. This feels like it's coming together. And so at first it was just five, but I had all these writes coming up, but it was Siren, Silk, Sea, Gold, and Flying. That was the first five. And I thought, okay, this is going to be like an EP. But then I just kept writing and kept writing. So um, I think that I kept track lists. I knew that the new me I wanted to be at the end, and I liked those, Siren, Silk, Sea up top. But then I just kind of like nudged around to see how it would kind of tell a story and how it all sounded together sonically. But I did like put a lot of time and thought into the track listing once I added more to it.
yeah, well, it is a very atmospheric record. And I wanted to speak to you about working with Gena Johnson because obviously Gina's worked with the likes of John Prine, Jason Isbell. So tell us about working with Gina and how much it helped bring that sound to life.
Well, Gina, I actually met in when I was working with Dave Cobb when we were cutting Sparrow, and Gina was, I think, the assistant engineer maybe for that record, but she was just always very hands-on in the studio with me, and I just loved her energy, and I just saw that she was really cool. She was really good at her job. So as I was writing these songs, and I was thinking, oh, I've got to put these out. I want to release these. And I remember I told Jake Mitchell, who co-wrote and produced C with me, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna put these out. I'm not on the label. I just put them out. And Jake's like, well, you should have somebody like mix it, because I'd always had a producer, and I've had Vince Gill and Dave Cobb doing all the technical stuff. I didn't know, and so I'm like, oh yeah. And so I was thinking, who would be cool to mix this, to sit with, and because I wanted to be hands on, because I was hearing it mixed a very specific way and kind of like going around when you're listening to it, and just a bunch of very, very, very specific notes I had. So I called Gina and was like, Gina, I know you have a studio in your house. Would you be interested in mixing these songs with me, I was like, they're really different. They're really, really different. But if you're into it, I think that we could do this. And at the beginning, like, and she loved them, but it was like we weren't mixing as extreme. And I was like, no, no, no. I was like, this is like Beyonce, this is Ashley Spears, I'm gonna go make it pop. I don't want anything just right here. And then she's like, all right. And she went and got a subwoofer. And like she was like, all right, I'm ready to really mix. And yeah, we'd have the best time just digging in, and a lot of interesting things that I've never been that hands-on, I guess, with mixing a record before.
Yeah, well, she's one of many fantastic minds that you had involved in the project. I mean, I look at the songwriting list, you got the likes of Nathan Chapman, Mikey Reeves, Jordan Reynolds on there. And in terms of the songwriting, do you have a sort of closed group of people that you like to work with when you're putting together a project like this, or are you kind of happy to work with anyone and best song wins?
I really am happy to work with anyone. And a lot of, I mean, um, I think Jordan, maybe those were the songs that we have on there might have been the only two times we've ever written. So it's just interesting that I like finding fresh people, fresh new people who are willing to not be like, so, we've got to write for so and so, or we've got to do this, like just be a little more free when they write. So all of these people were like that. And Nathan, I'd actually known, or I have known for a really, really long time. And he and his wife, like I used to write at their old house, very first record. And then we like, whatever, life happens and you stop writing with somebody for a little bit and then you kind of loop back in. And Gold was the first song we've written since we reconnected on the songwriting page, I guess 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And I was like, man, this is so special. Like I was so happy to be sharing it with someone that I'd known so long.
Yeah, and you went with Drive for the lead single from the project, and you wrote that with Nico Moon, obviously, who's having a lot of success in his own right at the moment, and Mikey Reeves as well. So talk about that dynamic and how Mikey and Nico work together to kind of bring that song to life.
Well, it was on my birthday when we wrote, and I went in and I had "Drop Me Like Your Classic, You Just Have to Have It." I had that part. And I always have good songs. I feel like that the angels send me like a good song on my birthday. Always. Like on The Blade, it was From Time to Time that was written on my birthday. There's been one on every record I think you used on the other one. But all that to say, I went in and I was like, guys, I was like, this might be dumb. I always have to start with that. But if it's not, like, I don't know. I think this is something. And I just started playing that, and then they both started having melodies and like these ideas. And pretty quickly, we all said, let's write this like we were writing it for a Quentin Tarantino movie, And Mikey is such a groove meister. He's just so good, and he instantly started creating that groove. And then he came over actually to Gina's studio with her and I a couple times and added more of his guitar playing. So that's Mikey playing on Drive and Siren. And groove. So yeah.
So you just mentioned groove there, and I wanted to ask you about the music videos you've put out, because you did one for Drive, you did one for Groove, and it brings to life that vibe of the song so well. And are you very involved in the creative process when it comes to music videos? Do you like to delve into that and get into the planning of it?
I love getting into the ideas of music videos. I mean, both of those were my ideas that I saw. Well, my manager thought of the black and white thing too. I will give her credit for that. But it inspired me to like just kind of see, I don't know, some different things. And then the flower wall, I wanted that, and like just clavicle for Till It Breaks. Like I saw that too. And actually I still like, when I was a little girl too, I could tell you any music video, any country song, and maybe pop too from the 90s. I could tell you the music video for, period. So I've always been like really into the visual part of a song. I've always loved that.
Yeah. And also, just last thing on the album, you released the album through 30 Tigers, which is a new thing for you. I mean, it's the first album you've released in a while that's not been with a major label. So tell us a little bit about working on that independently and how much freedom you had to kind of do exactly what you wanted to do with this project.
Well, it was so cool because for the most part, all of the songs had already been picked. I know that, but David Macias had heard five songs, and he loved them, and he contacted my manager. She sent it to him, and he just loved it. And I feel like he got it. And I met with him, and I'm like, this guy 100% understands what I'm trying to do here. He gets the songs, I know he does. So then I just started communicating with him, kind of helping me narrow down the final 10, because I was sending him. I've probably sent David Macias, well, there's no telling how many songs, because there's so many more I'd written during that time. But so he kind of helped, narrow down the process. But yeah, they just let me be, and said, turn it in when it's done.
That's really cool. And just moving away from the album a little bit as well, I love the new track that you've done with Trent Dabbs, Easy Going. Tell us a little bit about how that project came together, and how that song kind of came to life.
So funny. I listened to that in my car driving into Music Row today, and I was like, oh man, I just love this song. Yeah, we wrote it with Anderson East and Aaron Ray Thier, and it was just like a magical day. Those are just some of my favorite people. And Trent was like, I want you to sing the verses. I'm like, I want you to sing the verses, and I'll come in, on the chorus. And then when I heard the final version, he was like, I just kept us both in. I'm like, okay, there you go.
Ashley, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate your time, and best of luck with the album.
Thank you so much.